Yo, on today's video, we're going to talk about major news that just came out a little bit ago about Tesla. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, so don't sue me. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video if you like some of this content, as I will be making more videos like this. But before we get started, let's get some coffee. So not that long ago, today Tuesday, after the regular trading day, Tesla announced that it intends to split its shares 5-1. News of this split rallied the stock, and believe it or not, it was down for a while, but then it picked up the price of Tesla by 8% after hours trading. Tesla can be said to be one of the most valuable automaker companies in the world, and it's weird and shocking to see that it once traded for just around $200 in the past year, and since then it completely skyrocketed to more than $1,480. That's more than 228% increase year to date. And let's not forget that Tesla also recorded its 4th straight quarter of profits, which technically qualifies them to join the S&P 500. Once it does that, I mean, it's gonna be huge numbers for Tesla. I don't know about you guys, but I don't really have $1,400 just laying around to buy a single stock of Tesla. And you know, hopefully it makes a huge profit in order for me to buy another one. But after the set split of Tesla stock set to go into effect August 31st, the price of Tesla will go around $274, which to me, way more affordable. This can theoretically mean that a larger amount of smaller investors like myself can now afford Tesla stock. And you know, technically it could be good or bad news for larger institutions, as they can buy larger quantities of Tesla stocks. Don't think for a second just because Tesla is splitting its stock that the actual value of Tesla is down or anything like that. Just think about it as this way. You can now buy a stock of Tesla for a lower amount of money. Tesla move, I think, follows the similar move that Apple did a while back in July 31st when they did a split of 4-1, which if you don't know, that means that instead of Apple stock running for around $400 a stock, you can now get it for $100 each. This also makes young investors like myself join the parade and not just, you know, buy Tesla stock, but also a combination in my portfolio of Tesla stock and Apple stocks, two major big companies. Let's take a look at this video and see what some investors have to say about this.
5-for-1 stock split. We are seeing the stock rise in the after-hours session, a more than 7% gain at this point. Phil LeBeau's got the details. Phil.
Hey, Melissa, this is something that a number of people have talked about possibly happening, although I heard people say 3-1 or 4-1. No, Tesla's board has approved a 5-for-1 stock split. So here's what's going to happen. This is effective starting on August 21st. So that's when you will see it take effect. If you're a shareholder as of October 21st, that's when they'll do the calculation and basically split your stock into 5 pieces there. And then it actually starts trading on the 5-to-1 basis starting on August 31st. And as you mentioned, the stock moving higher. What? It's up 6-7% after hours after this announcement came out. So in the eyes of a lot of people, this is not a surprise given the fact that as the stock got up here into that $1,400, $1,500 range, a number of people I talked with said, boy, if they had this back down in that $200 to $300 range, you could bring even more people potentially into the stock. And that's why we're seeing the reaction that we're seeing.
Amazing. Phil, thank you. Phil LeBeau, we're up in the 8% range in the after-hours session in terms of a gain. Karen, we saw the same sort of phenomenon with Apple when it announced its stock split. We saw the rise and the rise and the rise. And I'm not really sure what the notion that the retail investor, I guess, can access the stock a little bit more easily.
I guess. I mean, the math of it, obviously, it does not create any value, but that people think it creates value, so therefore it does. It's kind of ridiculous, especially since we've seen that you can do, partial shares now. You can do trading with little or zero cost commission. So I don't know. I mean, I get that it works, and so why not do it? The other thing is stocks that split have tended to be doing well anyway. So there is that sort of bias. And conversely, stocks that do reverse splits haven't been doing well.
Right. But we've seen, of course, the rise of the retail investor, Brian Kelly, and EV space is a favorite space amongst these retail investors. And you take a look at Nikola, which is $41, NIO, which is $13, and maybe for the average investor looking at a stock that's $1,400 $100 a share is off-putting, and maybe this will actually open the doors to more investors.
I mean, sure. Yeah, maybe it will. I agree with Karen. It's absurd. Like, I mean, there's nothing that's changed.
I'm on board,
but,
too. I'm on board with you guys. So, I mean, I don't really get this 6% rise now, but, you know, so be it. Here we are.
Come on, Mel.
So be it. But here's the thing, is that human beings like to buy a whole amount of something. We find it in the Bitcoin world. Oh, I want to buy a whole Bitcoin. I want to buy 100 shares, a full lot of Tesla, and I can't do it at $1,500. It's absolutely absurd, but human beings can be absurd. So if it works, you know, good for the company, I guess. They created value out of thin air for the time being. But investors at home should understand nothing changed with this company. Nothing whatsoever changed with the fundamentals of this company. Maybe you get some more people on Robinhood buying in, but I'm not buying Tesla on this news. Let's put it that way.
Sure. But Guy, you have sort of this double, you know, catalyst potentially, the thought that it could be included in the S&P 500, and then all of a sudden potentially you've opened the doors to more retail investors. This could be sort of a double boost for the stock, at least in the short term.
No, well, clearly, I mean, that's what's going on. I mean, I echo Karen, BK, Tim, and now grudgingly probably you. I mean, the absurdity of it is just, but it speaks volumes as to what's going on. And, you know, this is I'm going to get added for this, but I think for a lot of people, they'd rather be long 5 shares of a $200 stock as opposed to 1 share of a $1,000 stock. I know there's an absurdity to that I can't explain, but I think that's just human nature. And I think that's what's going on here. And obviously the same things happened with Apple. And I bet you if we asked Ken Shou, I don't know if he still works for the network, but I think if we asked him, you know, and to go back and look throughout history of stock splits, I'm sure most of these stocks do very well on that announcement. So maybe there is something to it.
Also, side note, Tesla doesn't have any dividends right now, but Apple does. When a stock splits, say for example, like Apple 4-to-1, the dividends of that company also splits 4-to-1 in Apple's case. Anyways, thank you for tuning into today's video. I also want to tell you guys that I started an M1 Finance account, and we're going to see if it grows week by week. This time I started from scratch with just $100 and adding about $25 a week. So stay tuned for those videos coming up. Don't forget to like and share the video, for the YouTube algorithm. Until next time on Coffee and Stocks.